that a community has to offer. Our law enforcement officers serve you with bravery and dedication while being underpaid, underappreciated, under-equipped. For a tireless, thankless, and dangerous job we ask them to perform.
Well, that was newly sworn in Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry declaring a state of emergency over the shortage of police officers in his state and pushing his state legislature to reinstate tough on crime policies. It comes as the state has experienced one of the highest homicide rates in the country in recent years and seen a record amount of police officers leaving the force. Joining us now is Governor Jeff Landry. Governor, appreciate you joining us today. It saddens us as Americans to see this happening. I mean, so what sort of emergency are you seeing in your state as far as the lack thereof of police officers?
Well, look, what we know that the current environment in law enforcement has been depressed by a lot of the things that have happened in the press. The defund the police movement, the woke movements that are out there have really basically put pressure on recruitment. We know that 78% of law enforcement agencies across the country are experiencing problems in recruitment. Here in Louisiana, we've got sheriff's offices. We're down about 1,800 deputies. We have about 300 vacancies at the state police. The city of New Orleans needs about 700 more officers at NOPD. It's been decimated by a federal judge and a federal consent decree. And we've got 3 cities that have been in the top 10 most dangerous cities in the country. And so we are in a crisis. We have had more children last year in New Orleans being murdered than in past decades. And so we are in a crisis. And we know that the one thing that does work is when you get police officers and boots on the ground. And so we issued an executive order that would help move some of the bureaucratic red tape so that those sheriffs could hire the deputies that they need. We called the legislature in a session yesterday and put out a package of bills that are going to be both tough and smart on crime because we're going to take it serious. It is time to get control of our cities here in here in Louisiana, starting with New Orleans and making it safe.
Yeah, I mean, I know the problem is all over that state, including Baton Rouge as well, dealing with this spike in crime. As far as the police resignations that we're seeing, this is on the rise nationwide. We're seeing them up 47% compared to 2019. This obviously looks like the emergency situation you are calling it there in Louisiana. Leo Terrell joined us on this program yesterday, and you will know this very well as a former police officer, as you just mentioned, and sheriff's deputy. Why police are leaving the force? Listen.
You're being attacked by criminals, attacked by soft prosecutors. You're not getting the respect. What you have seen in this country ever since the summer of riots in 2020, you have seen an attack on law enforcement. No civilized society can exist without law and order.
I mean, can this be turned around? We know morale at these police departments coast to coast is down right now because of these soft on crime policies and arrests where people are committing crimes and just to walk freely. You can tap cops here in New York and just walk away.
Well, a couple of things. Number one, the problem right now in America and in Louisiana as well is that criminals are basically the mainstream media theory is that criminals are misunderstood and that victims and the police are the criminals. And that's completely out of balance. The second thing is the one thing we can do to help our law enforcement recruitment is to be proactive. As governors, we can go out there and let law enforcement officers know that we have their back. A good friend of mine who I served in Congress with, now the governor of South Dakota, Kristi Noem, did the exact thing up there several years ago where she welcomed police officers into South Dakota and she got more applicants than she could fill. I think it starts with creating an environment, letting those people who want to get into law enforcement know that we have their back and that we appreciate the dangerous job that they do. And I think that starting to create a positive environment will help that.
I know a big problem for you as well, and you can sort of tie it together with this crime crisis and police shortage and emergency situation you're detailing there, to the migrant crisis spreading into your state as well. You ordered the state law enforcement to track the illegal immigrant crime that is happening in your state. Many states states are now taking this initiative to track that. Governor, is this true? We ran a brain room research note on this, and according to some estimates, Louisianans are paying an additional $4,600 per migrant, a total of $600 million a year in state taxes because of illegal immigration in your state. Obviously, at a time where families are paying more and more for inflation, border agents have confiscated more than 1,500 pounds of fentanyl in June alone, enough poison to kill the entire country. In Louisiana, 2,352 people were lost to drug overdoses last year alone.
Well, Sandra, I really could rest my case with the statistics that you just said. But if you go and you ask, say, like the Kenner Chief of Police, Keith Conley, an amount of problems that he's seeing in Kenner, which is a city right next to New Orleans, in illegal juvenile gangs. Okay, again, he would tell you that the border is creating a crisis, not only in Texas and in the border states, but all over America and in Louisiana as well. And you're exactly right. We want to track the cost that the president and the Democrats' open border policy is costing American citizens, irrespective of their political affiliation. What it is doing is taxing citizens and causing crime to go up.
It's a huge burden on the Louisiana families there. And Governor, just final few seconds, how's the initial time on the job there for you?
Well, it's been a little chaotic. We're in our second special session since January. But I got to tell you, the legislature right now is being extremely responsive to the crisis that we have at hand. I think the bills that have been moving today through the legislature have been moving very swiftly. And we're hoping that this package is going to be one of the big steps that we're going to take to make Louisiana a great and safe state.
Well, as a girl who, loves that state so much, I hope you can right the ship, and we wish the very best for all the Louisianans there going through a lot right now. Governor, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.